Communities across the state are drying up.
So Texas lawmakers have made water a top priority this legislative session, even possibly tapping into the coveted rainy day fund to help pay for projects like pipelines, plants, and conservation projects. A few of the proposals suggest setting up an account with $1 to $2 billion for communities to borrow money from, then repay it with interest. But what kind of project could you see in your town? KXAN's political reporter Josh Hinkle traveled down to New Braunfels to find the perfect example.
Two rivers run through New Braunfels and two aquifers run under it.
We are at the New Braunfels Utilities water treatment plant. 10 steps.
Paula DeFonso with the local utility took us on a tour of the place pumping 8 million gallons a day.
The water is being piped in from the Guadalupe River.
During the drought, water restrictions were in place, reminding her of the reports from the late 80s when the Edwards Aquifer dropped dangerously low.
We needed to be able to diversify our water supply.
They needed this second option. Once constructed, it brought relief and more than half of the town's current water supply.
We needed to be able to make sure that we could supply our customers.
In the 2 decades since this water plant went in, the number of customers has gone up. New Braunfels' population has more than doubled in that time. Back then, it cost $10 million to put this thing in. Today, it would cost $40 million.
State lawmakers know many places can't afford to pay for new projects. Republican Doug Miller represents the New Braunfels area, which will likely need a second plant in 3 to 5 years.
Smaller communities, other communities that don't have the financial well-being or aren't in a growth area like New Braunfels is, that will need support from the state.
But state money might be tough, depending on how the budget goes.
A lot of challenges going forward, and none of them are inexpensive.
What makes the most financial sense to DeFonso, places nearby working with New Braunfels for the money, a regional effort to stay afloat.
We have to solve this issue.
Josh Hinkle, KXAN News.
Looking in depth now at the state's water crisis. Tonight, the Texas Water Development Board just released some new projections for the next 50 years. The state will need to spend $53 billion on water projects to keep up. If it doesn't, a record drought could cost Texas $116 billion a year, plus 1 million jobs. But some groups like Environment Texas have concerns. Its leaders say damming rivers and draining aquifers can be very harmful to the environment, and we all need to exhaust all conservation and efficiency before we spend money on those projects.